In the first sessions, we started chapter resources and the development. In the first lecture, we already discussed the meaning of resources and classifications of the resources. In the today's sessions, we will discuss the resources planning. Why resources planning is necessary for us. Resources planning, we can say it is a technique, we can say it is a skill of proper utilizations of the resources. Means how can we properly use these resources. We have to discuss in this planning, resource planning, there are three steps. Few are the steps. First one step is, first we have to identification and listing the resources. What do you means it? Identifications of the resources and make them listing means we serving the mapping the measurements of the quality and the quantity of the resources, and we also know how can these resources are important for us, or we have to make this list. And the second one is resources planning is by planning for the exploitations. Means we have to develop the planning structure, a proper plan with the good technology, we can say a good skills, and also we have to set up the institutional setup for the planning for the exploitations of the resources. And we also match the developments plan with the national developments plans. Means according to usage of our resources, we have to make national plans. Well, students, we also discuss here the importance of the resources planning. We know it is necessary for proper developments of India. We can say balanced development of our country. It is necessary of planning for the resources. We will discuss here few points which are mentioned in our book. Some regions of India are rich in certain resources, some are poor in the other resources. We will discuss here why the resource planning is necessary. Yeah, other word I can say what is the importance of the resource planning in our country, because some regions are rich with the natural resources but some are the poor. For example, Rajasthan is poor in which resources? Water, but rich in the solar and the wind energy. So it is necessary to make the plan. Also, we discuss the second points here. Some regions self-sufficient while the other regions are very poor in the important resources. For examples, Madhya Pradesh, we can say Chhattisgarh also, these are states rich in the many resources. But when we are discussing, we are talking about the Ladakh is poor in the different type of resources. That's why proper planning is required. And number three points is important. Wastage of resources can be avoided by the planning. Sometimes what happened, we have noticed that the wastage of the resources due to the poor plannings. That's why we have to avoid the wastage of resources. That's we require the proper planning of resources. Environmental pollution can be reduced if we properly plan to utilize the resources. Then it is resulted कि we are able to reduce the environmental pollutions also. Next point, our exploitations of resources can be avoided. Means most of the peoples in, we can see our country, they are using most of resources. So if we have the proper planning system, then we can stop, we can say we can avoid our exploitations of the resources. After discussing the resources planning, we will discuss here the resources conservations. What do you understand about the resources conservations? How can we conserve the resources? Planned use of resources. We can say fixed planned use for resources in order to meet the present needs, and we have to store these resources a part of our upcoming generation, future generation. This is known as a resource conservations. In the resource conservations, we have to take the few points in mind. Our which one is first point we will discuss here, we will talk here. Many resources we know they are non-renewable resources. Means one day these type of resources exist. One day they will finish. One day we can say exhaustible. These resources means one day they will finish. They will end. If we conserve them, we can use these resources for long period of time. If we planning there, students, we know the petroleums, coils, diesel. These are the fossil fuels. These are resources, non-renewable resources. Also, these resources also one day they will finish. So we need to conservation of the resources. Second points here we will talk conservations of resources help us to reduce the wastage. We can reduce the wastage according to our use. We can use make them better use also. It help also if we reduce the wastage of resources. It means it directly help economic progress of our country. So we can say resources conservation help us to protect our environment along with the also it help in pro economic process. In the next slides, we will discuss the ideas of our national father, what the Gandhiji said about the resources conservations. Here we will discuss that according to the Gandhiji, there is enough for everybody needs, not for anybody greeds. We have to use the resources according to our needs, need not to store them. And this is the idea of Gandhiji. Greedy and selfish individuals and exploitative natures of modern technology can root causes for the resources depletions. How are the at present time the resources are depleting? We know that because of greedy natures or selfish individuals people they want to more and more benefits. They are exploiting the natural resources, also the natures, also the modern technology. In the multinational company here playing vital role, they are exploiting the many of the resources. So it is need to that we have to adopt the ideas of Gandhiji. We have to use these resources with proper planning according to our present needs. We also think if we are using any resources, then it must not be harm our environments. We can store them for upcoming generations. Gandhiji was against the mass productions and wanted to replace it with the production by the masses. Gandhiji always opposed, vehemently opposed the mass productions. So these are idea about the resources conservations which are mentioned in our books. Next resources in our book is mentioned is the land resources. Well, students, land degradations means land is also one types of resources. Large scale our land, we can say soil erosion caused by the different regions. So here we will discuss few more regions. How can our land is soil is erosions is happening? Because of running water and the wind. Also, we will discuss here more examples. For example, dumping of the wastage materials for the mining centers, industrial unit. Also, they are doing such a things. They are destroying the lands. Also, we will discuss after the green revolutions, our productions of crop is increased due to our irrigations, or what is the bad result of our irrigations. It lead to the increase the salinity, means it increase the amount of salt in the lands, and the alkalinity क्षारीयता जिसको कहते हैं alkalinity also increase in the soil, or soil become unfertile. Many other reasons we will discuss here, our grazing by the animals, also the due to the decentralizations, industrializations or urbanizations, deforestations of the resources by the man, wastewater from the industrial units pollute the lands as along with the water bodies, mineral processing like the grindings of limestones and the cement industries. These are also responsible for the land, we can say land degradations. Also here industry create a lot of dust. This dust is deposited on the neighboring land, or it properly they are destroying the fertile lands. In this way, land is also natural resources or many way nowadays, yeah, upcoming days, day by day, we are depleting, we are degradations the lands. Land conservations. What do you understand about the land conservation? Why it is required? Students, you know that we cannot download the roti, we can say bread from the Google. For the roti or bread, we have to do the farming. So for the farming, we need the good lands, means fertile lands. Soil erosion can be prevented, can be stopped. How can be stopped? By ending. What we have to end? What is the reason of soil erosion? Deforestations, controlling the grazing, increasing the peoples for the plantations. Afforestation means plantations, more and more plantations. Also, we practicing terrace farming in the hilly area. We can say different type of the farming which help to reduce the wastage of the lands. Also, we preparation of shelter belts for the plants and stabilizing of sand dunes by the growing. Also, in the deserts area, by the winds, the sand dunes they are exchanging, they are placing, changing their place. But we can stop them. How can we stop them? By growing the thorny bushes will help to stop the lands degradations in the deserts area, especially in we can say Rajasthan. Also, the mining activities should be controlled, should be guided. Not we can say that these are necessary mining activity, but do with the new technology, which good technology reduce the wastage can be adopted. Also, the industrial should be chemically treated to remove the waste harmful substance from which cannot be reduce the lands for fertility or fertile lands. Urban waste, or another word we will discuss, the urban solid waste also should be used for the productions of biogas and the biomanure. मीन्स जैविक खाद भी बना सकते हैं, और जो वेस्ट मटेरियल आता है उससे भी लैंड्स को हमें बचाना है. Our irrigation should be stopped. What will be used in place of present irrigation system? We can use the modern technology, means drip system we can use, so we can save our lands. Well, students, you know the soil as a resources. You can see the picture in our chapter. There's types of soil is also mentioned. In today's sessions, we will also discuss about this type of the soils. Which types are the soil mentioned in our chapter? We will discuss here. First, we discuss soil as a resources. Soil as a resources. So, well, students, we will start the discussing the uppermost layer of earth crust, which is the loose, we can say broken, useful for the plants, is called the soil. First, we will try to get the meaning of soils. हम सोइल्स कहेंगे किसको? वी कैन कॉल इट एनीथिंग ऑन द लैंड्स, वी कैन कॉल इट सोइल्स. क्या हम सभी को सोइल कह सकते हैं? नो. We can call the soil upper parts of the earth. We can say this is the loose, broken. We can say soil consists what having the soils, containing the soil minerals. We can say such as sand, the clay. Clay means जो चिकनी मिट्टी होती है हम कहते हैं, and the organic matter such harms it is required, it is essential for the growing the plantations, also the bacteria and also some the earthworms. These are necessary for the growing of any plantations. Soil is formed by due to the process of many process. The process of withering means withering process means the soil is by the water, by the rivers, they are replacing by one place to another place the deposits of this way the soil formation is done. As resulted of withering, a layer of loose rocks materials is formed on the land surface. If this layer remains undisturbed for long period of time, means millions years we can say, chemical, physical and organic changes take place on particular that lands. Well, these changes are the responsible for the soil formations. These are responsible for the making soils, we can say, students. Form factors which influence soil formations. Which are the factors which affect the soil formation? First one is climate. It is also decide the rate of withering and the type of vegetations. If climate is good, if there is heavy raining, less raining, so we can say climate is also we can say Climate also influence soil formation process. Tomography also, the tomography means land decide the accumulation of the soil, which types of the having the lands, then the hills area and deserts area, plain area. So we can say topography also decides the accumulation of soils. Third point is nature of parents rocks, means it decide the compositions, which type of the texture of soil, which type of the soils, available soils, red soils, which type of texture of the soil it also decides. And the vegetation decide the amount of arms and available in the soils or which is necessary for the plantations. So well students, in the sessions we discuss about few points regarding this chapter. In upcoming sessions, we will discuss the types of soils. In our country, there are 6 types of soils we will discuss in upcoming sessions. So, well, students, thanks for attending these sessions. We will discuss more about